You know that moment when the world tilts on its axis, and everything you thought was solid crumbles like dry earth under your feet? That's how it started for me, no. For Emily Tran. Standing there on the front steps of the house she'd poured her soul into. The key in her hand, cold and unyielding, refused to turn in the lock. She'd just come from the hospital, where the monitors had flatlined, taking her husband, Min, with them into silence. Her clothes still carried the sterile scent of antiseptic and grief, rumpled from nights spent in vinyl chairs, holding his hand as cancer claimed him inch by agonizing inch. The overnight bag at her feet sagged like her shoulders, spilling a crumpled discharge paper and Min's worn leather wallet, the one he'd carried since their first date at that little faux shop in Little Saigon, Los Angeles. Through the frosted glass panel beside the door, she saw her, Lon, Min's mother, perched at the kitchen island like a queen on her throne. Lan's jet-black hair, streaked with silver from years of commanding family gatherings and community fundraisers, caught the warm glow of the pendant lights Emily had installed herself last summer. Lon sipped from a delicate porcelain mug the set Min had gifted Emily on their wedding day, etched with lotus patterns to honor their Vietnamese roots blended into American life. Emily's heart twisted. Those mugs were for quiet mornings, not this invasion. She rang the doorbell, the chime echoing like a distant funeral bell, each note sinking into her chest like lead. The door cracked open, just enough for Lon to fill the space with her imposing frame. Her face, lined from decades of navigating immigrant hardships and building a small real estate empire in Southern California, settled into a mask of practiced pity. "Emily," Lon said, her voice laced with the clipped authority of someone who'd chaired temple committees and brokered deals in boardrooms. "I wondered when you'd drag yourself back." Emily's breath caught. "What's happening?" "My key, it's not working." Lon adjusted her silk blouse, smoothing it as if brushing away an inconvenience. This was Min's house. You two weren't together long. No kids. No prenup. Her mouth curved into something resembling kindness, but her eyes were sharp as jade. "You don't belong here anymore." The words landed like punches to the gut, each one compounding the raw ache of losing Min. Behind Lon, Min's sister, Kim, hovered in the hallway, avoiding Emily's gaze. Kim clutched a box overflowing with framed photos, their vacation snapshots from Yosemite, the family portraits from Tet celebrations. Emily's eyes flicked to the bare wall hook where their engagement picture had hung, now just a faded outline mocking her. For years of building a life, of blending traditions, Lunar New Year feasts with Thanksgiving turkey, wiped away while she whispered goodbyes in a hospital room. "This is my home," Emily whispered, her voice fracturing. "Was. Dear," Lon corrected, her grip tightening on the door. "The family needs to handle Min's affairs. We'll box up your trinkets and ship them wherever you're crashing." Emily stood frozen, grief morphing into a slow-burning fury. The jasmine vines she'd planted along the fence, symbols of enduring love in their culture, bloomed mockingly white against the stucco walls. Min had helped her train them, his laughter echoing as he teased her about her green thumb obsession. "You can't," Emily started, but Lon was already shutting the door. "Oh, we can. We'll contact you about the memorial." The lock clicked shut, final as a coffin lid. Emily retreated down the path, legs numb, past the driveway where her SUV sat, the same one she'd rushed Min to chemo in. The engine roared to life, but the familiar streets of their Orange County suburb blurred, the Vietnamese bakery where they'd grabbed banh mi on lazy Sundays, the community center where Min taught coding classes to kids from immigrant families, the park bench where he'd proposed under a canopy of jacaranda blooms. All of it felt alien now, like echoes from a life stolen. She checked into the Sunset Inn off the 405 freeway, the room reeking of bleach and stale dreams. Collapsing onto the threadbare bed, she clutched Min's hospital ID bracelet. Its plastic etched with his vitals, blood typo. No allergies. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Her phone vibrated, Lan's number. Emily, the voice purred with false sweetness. We need Min's banking PIN for the estate. Don't make this harder. Emily's lips pressed thin, tasting the salt of unshed tears. I am family. A beat of silence. Then Lan's tone iced over, not in our eyes. Girl. Not anymore. Emily hung up. The click severing more than a call. Flashback 2 years, Min at their dining table. Face ashen under the warm Edison bulbs. Stacks of invoices and bankruptcy forms scattered like fallen autumn leaves. His tech startup, built from late-night coding sessions in their garage, had cratered in the post-pandemic slump. It's all gone, he choked out. I let us down. Emily had held him, feeling the tremors in his frame. That night, as he slept fitfully, she logged into her personal savings, the account her parents, refugees from Saigon, had started for her with factory wages. She was a graphic designer then, freelancing for ad agencies, and she'd refinanced the house in her name alone to shield it from creditors. The deed arrived weeks later, her signature bold and solitary. Now, in the dingy motel, Emily rifled through her bag, pulling out an old sketchbook. Behind digital mock-ups of client logos, she found a Polaroid from their wedding, Min's warm smile, arm around her waist, the Pacific Ocean crashing behind them at their beach ceremony. She traced his face, whispering, I'll fight for us. Her laptop hummed to life, fingers steadying. She searched, widows' rights in California probate disputes. Results flooded the screen. Black letters promising a path through the darkness. They thought grief would break her. They didn't know it would forge her into steel. The next dawn, Emily dialed Tony, Min's office assistant. The line connected on the third ring. Emily. We've been gutted, Tony said. But his voice hitched, like he was holding back a storm. Lon cleared out his desk yesterday. Claimed next of kin. Ice flooded Emily's veins. While she'd stared at motel ceilings, Lon had been dismantling Min's legacy. She said you two were splitting, Tony whispered. That Min was crashing with them before. The end. The fabrication clawed at her throat. We weren't. I was there every second. Her phone pinged, another alert. Unauthorized login attempts on Min's accounts. Lan's fourth that morning. A knock rattled the door. Sarah, her best friend from design school, stood there in yoga pants and a hoodie, ditching her corporate attorney suit for solidarity. One look at Emily's hollow eyes, and Sarah barged in. No more talking to them without me. She flipped open her laptop, morphing from confidant to crusader. Not Lon. Not Kim. Not their shark of a lawyer. Emily ended the call with Tony mid-sentence. Their lawyer. Sarah's keys flew. Lon met with Victor Nguyen 2 days before Min passed. Filed to lock down his assets while you were at his bedside. The world spun. Emily pictured Lon at the island, sipping from her mug, the poise masking predation. Kim unpacked in our spare room that day, Sarah added. Your cleaner called me, quit on the spot rather than touch your stuff. Betrayal bloomed like poison ivy, choking her. While Emily had begged Min to fight a little longer, Kim had hauled boxes past their altar with ancestral photos, past the Tet decorations they'd hung together, erasing their blended world. We need proof, Sarah said. Deeds, taxes, anything. Emily's mind raced to Min's home office. The refinanced docs in her name. The property bills she'd paid from her freelance gigs. The garage side door, she murmured. The latch jams unless you jiggle it just so. Sarah's brow arched. They won't know. A faint smile ghosted Emily's lips. Lon wouldn't deign to enter a garage. That midnight, they parked blocks away under a street lamp's haze. Emily led Sarah through shadows, past the jasmine vines Min had tended. The door yielded with a grudging creak. Footsteps thumped upstairs. They flattened against the wall as Kim's silhouette crossed the kitchen, fridge light casting her in harsh relief. Breath held. They waited until she retreated. Min's office was pristine, untouched, too raw for Lon. Per her scrawled notes to movers. It smelled of his sandalwood incense and late-night faux takeout. Emily photographed it all: mortgages, taxes, insurance. Her life with Min. Inked in black and white. A leather binder gleamed from behind code books. Gold embossed, postnup for Emily only. Sarah hissed a warning. But Emily opened it. Tears blurred the pages. Min's signature. Dated post-bankruptcy. A note clipped, "If Mom pulls anything, give this to Sarah." He knew Sarah breathed. Snapping pics. He armored you. The front door banged below. Lan's voice sliced upward. Kim. Scour his office. There has to be leverage. They slipped out. Hearts pounding. Past the jasmine whispering secrets in the breeze. Back at the motel. Sarah's screen glowed with Lan's court filings, claims of undue influence during Min's vulnerable state. Emily's name smeared as opportunistic. A climber in their tight-knit Vietnamese-American circle. All assets frozen, Sarah growled. She's cornering you. Emily's phone rang. Lon. Voicemail spilled out, clinking glasses. Lan's voice theatrical. You're dishonoring his spirit with these delusions. This house is family legacy, his father's sweat from the old country. Emily deleted it. Fingers finding Min's jade necklace in her bag. The stones still warm from his skin. The safe deposit box at the bank felt like a tomb. Alone in the vault. Emily studied the postnup again. Dated the week Min had broken down over bills. His words echoed. You'll never struggle like my parents did. She traced his script. Love in every loop. I won't let them steal our ending, she vowed to the cold air. The papers locked away. But their power ignited like Tet fireworks, brilliant. Unyielding. For days on. At her freelance gig in a Santa Ana design studio, fluorescent hums droned as Emily tweaked logos for a client's rebrand. Through the window, Lan's gleaming Lexus pulled up. Emily's stylus froze. Lon stormed in, trailed by aunties from the Temple Association, all in morning black. I need clarity, Lon wailed. Loud enough for the open-plan office. Min would have wanted his treasures with bloodkin. The aunties dabbed eyes with tissues. Emily set down her tablet. For days of this, Lon ambushing her at cafes, markets, whispering poison in community ears. MS. Tran, her boss murmured. You can step out. But Emily stayed. Explaining font choices to a client while Lon monologued, his grandfather's watch from Vietnam. Childhood mementos, all vanishing. Whispers rippled, the obituary omitting Emily. Locks changed on Min's startup office. The Vietnamese grapevine buzzed with Lan's narrative, Emily as the outsider. Despite years of hosting family reunions. Sarah burst in. Briefcase swinging. Sign these. In the break room. She unveiled Min's journal, every deal. Family spat. Asset note. His oncologist's clear bill of mental health from April. Emily's voice cracked. They're calling me a schemer, preying on his downfall. Sarah's grin was feral. Let them. You're unbreakable. Court donned sterile and unforgiving in downtown LA. Lon arrived in elegant AO dye-inspired black. Kim sniffling beside her. Their lawyer spun tales, Emily the manipulator. Latching on during Min's startup crash. Lon nodded, playing the grieving matriarch. Emily sat still. Journal in lap, Min's doodles of their future home. Lotus ponds sketched in margins. Sarah rose, Your Honor. The deeds in Emily's name alone. Post-refinance with Min's blessing. The judge peered over glasses. Neurologist confirms full capacity. Lan's knuckles whitened. And the postnup, explicit wishes. The gavel fell. Property to Emily Tran. That night, Sarah brought pho and rice wine. The motel filled with friends, old clients bearing spring rolls. Sharing Min's stories. He'd drop everything to fix our printers, one laughed. Insisted on family-style lunches. Laughter thawed Emily's frozen heart. These were their true circle. Not Lan's facade. Sarah outlined next, cops escort tomorrow. Locksmith on speed dial. Emily nodded. Listing pilfered items, wedding albums, Min's code notebooks, ancestral jade. Sarah held up Lan's removal manifest, her own confession. Dawn broke as Emily reclaimed her porch. New keys glided in. Inside, Lan's photos glared from walls, shelves stripped bare. But in Min's study, hidden in a drawer, his Lotus sketchpad waited. Final page, a serene garden with notes for Emily. Our haven. This is how I honor you, she whispered. One petal at a time. A month later, her jasmine vines twisted defiantly around discarded silk scarves Lon left in her haste post-ruling. Emily buried them in compost, watching the locksmith reinforce every entry. No duplicates, she commanded. Voice honed by battles. Min's recliner by the bay window bore his imprint. She traced it, recalling rainy afternoons planning TET menus. Security techs installed cams, full footage retention. Perfect against Lan's staged accidents. Certified mail arrived, Lon demanding heirlooms, including Emily's gifts from Saigon relatives. Threats of distress suits. Emily filed it away. Sarah laughed. Her insurance grab failed last week. The phone rang. Kim, Mom says you're wiping him out. The decor. The relics. Emily knelt in soil, planting lotus bulbs. I'm reviving what we built. Your mom's portraits? Boxed in the garage. Silence. A hummingbird dipped into nectar. She claims fraud on the postnup. Emily's tone sharpened. Lies wilt in light. Click. 2 days on. Lon invaded Emily's studio. Aunties in tow. Emily. Discuss Min's intentions. Colleagues formed a barrier. Client meeting. She's barred us from his right, Lon cried. Emily countered. Private. As he wished. Doubts flickered in Auntie's eyes, Lan's grip slipping. Evening brought Sarah with updates. No more suits, the postnup's ironclad. Emily recalled the rite. Intimate chapel with Lotus arrangements. True friends only. Lon and Kim crashed. Emily stood. You desecrated his memory. Leave. Kim dragged Lon out, whispering apologies. Now. Homebound. Emily found Kim by the jasmine. Mom said you never cared, that it was for status. Emily unlocked Min's study, sketchpad open to Lotus designs. Kim wept over his script. Before Mom twisted things. Shared grief bridged the chasm. That night, Lan's envelope slid under the door. This home is mine forever. Emily buried it under lotus roots. No more, she breathed. Bulbs nodded. Resilient in shadow. Tuesday's mail, another demand. Listing Emily's heirlooms as Lan's. Rumors flew. Susan called. Lan's sang you're auctioning Min's life. Emily creased the paper sharp. Next day, Lon entered the studio. Mrs. Vo trailing. Something of my boys. Emily's client paused mid-bouquet. You stole albums. His diploma. Lon dabbed eyes. You're liquidating treasures. Emily anchored. Come tomorrow. 2 p.m. Bring Kim. Afternoon tableau. Items arrayed. Postnup. Emily slid forward. Cognitive eval. Laptop played footage. Lon pilfering as Min faded. Documented greed. Lon erupted. He picked you over blood. Emily, I was his blood. Lon stormed out. Kim lingered. Sorry for believing. Emily handed childhood snaps. These are yours. The rest stays. Alone. Emily wandered rooms. Inhaling Min's echo. Tears cleansed. Not corroded. She faced tomorrow armored in his love. 2 months on. Her key turned true. Kim on porch with code books. Mom wanted to toss them, I knew better. Emily invited her in. Showing Lotus Garden sketches. Kim offered hidden college drafts for his vision. Not allies, but seeds of peace. Work resumed, paths laid per Min's plans. Her firm sign, Tran Designs. Clients sought her widows. Divorcees rebuilding. Sarah toasted at dusk, to growth. Emily walked barefoot. Stones warm. Marigolds bloomed eternal. They aimed to shatter me, she thought. But I rose from roots stronger. Blooming in his name.